Hello you, Kat Rambo here, your medicine woman, and today we are going to talk about natural hair care and some lies that I have uncovered along the way. So, as a reminder, my zone of genius is remedying incurable diseases and dealing with things like severe depression and anxiety and like teaching shamanism. Beauty isn't really, I feel, my best service. However, I have learned recently that the way we feel about our appearance makes a huge impact on mental health. And it's not really about vanity, it's about expression. Because the first thing that people see about us is how we look. And so when your hair starts falling out, or it's rashy, or your skin is crappy and breaking out and annoying, not only is it physically uncomfortable, but it also creates discomfort mentally and socially. And I've realized that it's a lot more important than I thought. So I discovered this because, generally speaking, my skin's pretty crappy. It's like some of it's oily, some of it's dry, some of it's rashy. I get rosacea and acne, super sensitive, the whole deal. And also the hair situation, I started getting what I thought was psoriasis or eczema. It was pretty severe. And I've tried so many different things. None of the pharma remedies worked. So being a natural wellness expert, I got away from all of that and towards natural wellness. So there's a couple other videos on this channel actually regarding this topic. So this is more like part 3 continuation of the things that I've learned along the way. So first, the last video talked about how I addressed that, and this is going to be like my primary idea for this one, I think. We'll see along the way, right? We go with the flow. I was treating my hair and my scalp as though I had dry scalp, because that seemed to be the theme of a lot of material that I had read and researched. So I was doing the natural oil remedies, not just the rosemary, but a bunch of other things. And I would do deep scalp treatments. As soon as I would get out of the shower and wash my hair, I'd put oil on my scalp to keep it from getting dry and flaky. But I realized that there's probably no such thing as a dry scalp. The scalp is actually pretty sensitive skin, but it is also the oiliest skin on your body. So I don't see how someone could actually have a dry scalp. So I've done some more research and discovered that what I probably had was seborrheic dermatitis, which is what we call dandruff, right? And they don't really know where it comes from. We don't really know how to get rid of it. We don't know really what it is, but it might be a variety of things. So I began experimenting. And I changed a whole bunch of things about my hair care routine, and I have had amazing success super fast. And so I would love to share with you what I've been doing. So first thing is I immediately stopped with oil treatments, because what dandruff is, or seborrheic dermatitis is not dry scalp. It might be a fungus, right? Which our whole body is covered in yeast. Our whole biome is full of fungus. That's normal, natural, we're supposed to have that. But when it's an overgrowth, that's a problem, and maybe that one's not one we really want. So they actually live on things like oil and moisture. So I'm like, I'm actually feeding the problem. Also, I was washing my hair probably like once a week, once every other week sometimes, depending if I wasn't being sweaty. This time, for many months, I was also living in Patagonia during winter. So it was cold most of the time. I wasn't doing a whole lot of sweating, so it was never really a problem. But I realized I think maybe we needed to treat a little bit more often, especially if oil was going to be now the culprit, right? And I'm a huge fan of oils. I use them for my body, I use it for my face, I use it for my hair. There's a lot of great reasons to understand oils. I make natural skincare products for many years, so oils are a huge part of that and absolutely what your body needs to thrive. That said, yeah, inside and out, right? We're supposed to have healthy oils to eat. That said, if this was going to be my new enemy number one, I needed to find a different way to take care of myself. So I switched to washing my hair at least once a week, but not more often than that usually, because washing your hair too much is not really that good for my hair anyway. Everyone's hair is different, right? Everyone's body is different. All I can tell you is what I've learned from me. And now what some of my clients have told me has been very successful for them. So shampoo products. Well, first of all, prep, I guess. The last video was prep, wash, rinse, and treat, right? Or post-washing process, which is completely different now. So the prep process used to look like lots of deep oil conditioners and masks. I felt like my hair was super dried out, and that would be the solution, right? But actually, that's not a good idea anymore for me. and may not be for you. There may not be such a thing as dry scalp unless you're washing your hair a lot with a lot of harsh detergents like commercial shampoos, in which case you may be stripping all the oil so much that your body is like freaking out and producing more is usually the response. So a lot of times people think they have oily hair, but the truth is they're just washing it too often. But also sometimes people may not be producing so much oil, or there may not be enough oil on the scalp to take care of the skin if you're washing your hair way too much. Now, obviously, if you work in a place like a kitchen or you're sweating a lot, then you gotta wash your hair. You know, I get it. There's no judgment in any of it, right? But for a lot of people, washing your hair every single day is totally unnecessary. Your hair's not really dirty. Your scalp is oily, right? So now the only treatment I do, and by the way, now my hair was like falling out and thin and couldn't grow. Now we have like a handful of butt crack length, like shiny, healthy hair. I haven't cut it in a while now. There's some dreadlocks in there too. This is the straight part. And so I'm really happy with the fact that it's growing in a lot thicker and a lot healthier. Like down here, it's like a lot thinner. It usually doesn't break too much. But up here, it's a lot thicker again, which makes me really happy. I don't see like the bald patches around here, or like in the back. I was starting to notice it's really thin. It started to make me feel super uncomfortable. And then of course the flaking, and then like sheets of flakes. It was disgusting. I felt awful. So I was always wearing hats, which was just fine because I was in Patagonia. But South Chile, and it's cold down there is what I'm saying. But you know, now that I'm here back in Central Florida, I think maybe I would rather just focus on health and wellness and not having to like cover my hair for embarrassment purposes, right? So now I'll put a little coconut oil just on the ends. So it's not like your whole hair that gets dry. It's just like the end part here where it gets crunchy, right? So mids to ends. So like this section, if your hair is much shorter, then it's going to be just like this part. But you don't want to get up like close to your scalp or your ear or any of that. Because then it gets on your scalp, and I was trying to avoid oil on the scalp. I also prepare my rinse, which I'll tell you about later. So that's my whole prep process. I leave it on for a little while. I used to do the whole thing in coconut and rosemary and like braid it up and leave it for like a day and all. I don't do any of this anymore. If I really want to do like a deep treatment, then I'll braid it, but I still only put the oil on the ends. I don't want to touch it to my scalp anymore. And actually, I'm a lot healthier. My hair has grown on a lot thicker. I thought my hair would be starving. It's not. It's so much better. So washing, I still use natural herb packs. This brand, Hennesuk, makes this hair mask that I use, kind of like shampoo. I put the hair mask on to, again, treat the problem. Haven't actually used that in a while. Because I was living abroad, I had to work with what I had, which means I didn't always have access to the same products I use. Sometimes I use henna, or not the kind that colors, but just the kind that bengraji and all these like other Ayurvedic herbs. Didn't really have that option. So I started using packaged shampoo. I also would interchange that with eggs, which is a great keratin treatment, but you can't do that too often. You'll make your hair brittle. So max once a month, once every 6 weeks, I would do eggs. On my other video, I mentioned this also. This is phenomenal. You don't need to like shampoo them out. You just put them in your hair, leave them for like 15 minutes, maybe not that long. Wash them out, and like they'll sort of lather and become like shampoo. You think your hair's going to smell like eggs. It's not. But also when you rinse them with cold water, because you don't want to cook them in your hair. It's like impossible to get them out. So cold water rinse, or cold water wash with the eggs. Sometimes I would wash my hair with honey and herbs. Honey can be a little drying for some people, but I love it. Honey is great for a lot of things. It's also very soothing for the scalp. Sometimes I would use sulfate-free, sodium lauryl sulfate-free, like as a minimal ingredient, no perfume, no color type of like basic shampoo product. The secret with that is to just like wash twice, right? I learned that you got to wash twice. We're like washing your hair wrong. It wasn't thorough enough. And so I think that's why oil was still on my scalp, that I didn't realize. I saw a video where a hairdresser described it, the oil on your scalp, the sebum on your scalp is sort of like peanut butter. If you imagine it as that viscous, you really have to like scrub in there instead of like washing your hair. You got to like get in there and scrub your actual scalp, not your hair, especially like this part up here where it gets like more dense and more oily. And we don't even like see that part, right? But you really got to get in there and then rinse your hair and then shampoo it again. But what I did in the second shampoo is I actually left it on a little longer because I mixed in some essential oils. So be careful with essential oils because you can get an overexposure allergy to essential oils. Too much can cause contact dermatitis and make the situation a lot worse. You can develop an allergy and everything. So please be conscientious of essential oils. Use very little. It goes really long way. I read something that was equivalent to like a single drop of essential oils, like 40 cups of tea. It's a very dense plant product. Please, there are some brands that are encouraging you to drink them. Please don't do this. Do not apply essential oil topically without a carrier or a mixer. This is not safe and is way too strong for your skin. The only oil you can apply direct on your skin is lavender. And even then, I would recommend a carrier oil or a mix of something else, you know, to like not make it just essential oil on your skin. This is too much, right? It's too strong. However, I buy big bottles because I add several drops in my hand with my shampoo and then just sort of mix them together and then go nuts. You don't want to like lather your shampoo before you put it on because the foam can't get like in there. You want to just like smear it together and then get in there with it where it's like still like slimy before it gets foamy, right? So what did I add? Tea tree oil is a classic for all kinds of problems that have to do with antifungus and anything else that I thought may or may not be the problem that we don't really know. So I use that. Rosemary's classic. It also is stimulating for scalp health, and I wanted my hair to grow back where it was falling out, so that's a good solution. They show that it may be as effective as minoxidil. Remember, that study is for people dealing with androgen problems, like hormone issues, so that may not apply for everyone, but I love the way it smells. Rosemary for me is also like a very spiritual herb, so I love it anyway. So I use it, and it's stimulating. So I also, and it has like anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial property as well. And then I also added frankincense serrata because it's calming. It's also got its own anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial property, but it's really soothing. And my scalp was severely irritated. So those are the three. Keep it really simple. You can do peppermint. There's other things you can do, but those three were just enough, and I put that in my shampoo, and then I shampooed my hair really well, and I left it on, and you can feel it tingling a little bit. If you feel it burning, get it off immediately. Take it away. We'll rinse it. But if you feel it like tingling, that's nice. If it's extremely severe, I may put, did I bring it over here to show you? Show and tell. Yes, I did. I may put a very tiny amount of oregano, is my little guy, of oregano oil in there. Oregano is extremely strong. It's also a very warming herb. It can burn your scalp. So if you are having like severe issues and this like isn't doing the job fast enough, then I do recommend the oregano oil. But I also highly recommend you use like a third of a drop in your all the shampoo. So like put it maybe in the bottle instead of like directly on your scalp, because you want to use extremely small amount so you don't burn your scalp and make the situation worse. I sprung and got a new tripod. I'm still fiddling with it. No, that wasn't better, is it? That's close enough. Nope, now we're falling. So after the shampoo, I would do a rinse. So for a little while, I was doing, that'll work, a really complicated herbal tonic, because I had this philosophy that if I put it directly on my scalp in the liquid form and just left it there and didn't rinse it out, then like a leave-in conditioner concept, because I don't use conditioner products, then it would be like leaving on a treatment. But I've discovered lately that's probably not really that effective or necessary, because the treatment is being done with the essential oils. But I did find a workaround for that. I was using everything from like olive leaf and pau d'arco and clove and a bunch of stuff, like cola de caballo, a whole bunch of stuff, everything for like texture and softness to like dealing with the issue. And pau d'arco is phenomenal for candida and other types of yeast. So I was using that because I drink it anyway. But I really feel like it's probably not all that necessary. So now I've simplified the system and I really just do green tea because it's just really good for a lot of things, and it's antioxidant, and it's got a little bit of like a natural caffeine in it, which helps stimulate your scalp, and it's got all these like polyphenols and good stuff. So sometimes I mix that with aloe powder, sometimes I mix that with a little fenugreek powder, because like it gives my hair like a nice slip and like shine, which feels really good. And I mix that all together, let it cool first, please. Don't really put like hot water on your hair, it's not really good. Let it cool, and then I'll dump that over the whole situation like a rinse and just leave it, right? Yes, I do use a dark colored towel because tea in your towel does exactly what you'd expect it to do. After that, now that I've ictionated the herb cocktail, I do like a post treatment. So something I never used to do is dry my hair. So I have never owned a hair dryer my whole life, and I never saw the need for one, and I was under the impression that it was unnatural and that it would fry my hair and that it would burn my scalp. And also I think I had like a childhood hang up about it, right? So I've never even owned a hair dryer, but I was living in Patagonia and my hair does not dry very quickly. It's a little bit more coarse. So I would have wet hair for 3 days and it's cold. And that was just not working for me anymore. So I decided I'm going to blow dry my hair. And if moisture is part of the problem with undesirable overgrowth of something that we're not exactly sure what it is, then I'm going to fix that by just drying my hair. And so I would dry the scalp part all the way. I flip it over to get like the underneath, the undercoat. The top part seemed to like dry on its own, but the undercoat was never dry. So I flip my hair over and I dry it from the bottom. Drying your hair has its own technique to not burn it, but I would dry it. Except I would leave probably mids to ends still like a little damp, because I would, after that, when I finished drying my hair, do another like little treatment. Sometimes before drying it, sometimes after drying it. I would take, usually before drying it, a little bit of aloe gel, not the blue kind with the lidocaine, just plain aloe gel. Out of the leaf is best, or if you find a bottle that's like the 100%. Now, when the bottle says contains 100% aloe vera, that does not mean the whole bottle is 100% aloe vera. Read your ingredients list, right? I know it's hard to find. There's going to be some preservatives in there if it's a prepackaged, but you make trade-offs to not have to scrape a leaf every time you wash your hair, okay? And then I would add like 2 drops of lavender and like a drop or 2 of lemongrass. Lemongrass has a very strong smell. It is also anti-insect, so you may like that. I like the way lemongrass smells. It's sort of like a little spicy, a little earthy, and like fresh, a little citrus almost. I really like it. The smell doesn't last, unfortunately, because I would love to smell like lemongrass. It smell like Thai soup would be great. But alas, the smell does go away pretty quickly. But it is pretty strong, pointed, spicy smell at first. So just keep that in mind if you're not a fan of strong smells. And I would put maybe 1 or 2 drops because it also is really good for this purpose and has been found to be useful against the yeast that is probably what causes dandruff, right? Dry scalp, right, which isn't, it's dermatitis. So then I will take that and rub them together and then put that all over just the scalp. And sometimes I put the aloe like in my hair because I love the texture it gives it. You think it's going to be slimy and crunchy, but it's not. For curls, when you like scrunch up the bottom, it looks great. But it makes it really soft, and aloe is very soothing for the scalp. And these 2 oils, even though I have like a no oil, no dampness on scalp oil now, very little bit of it. And they're the part that continues to do the work after the washing. So then I'll dry everything except the ends. And mids to ends, I just put a little bit of jojoba oil. I know, no oils, right? But just on the ends, because what happens is the ends get crunchy because this part does get dry, right? And so I just put it on the ends just a little bit. And this oil is actually not an oil, it's a wax. So it seals the end and the cuticle part, or the outside of the hair around here where it gets like actually dried out and needs care so it doesn't break. Because breakage is what makes you think your hair's not growing. It's growing. It's just breaking right at the same place because it's not living all that healthfully. But the oils, the things you can put on the end of your hair really helps. Lots of people use like other types of like shine sealer silicones, whatever. But this is a wax, and the thing on your scalp that may be causing the problem doesn't really eat this very much because it's more like a wax. It's not really an oil, and it is the closest mimic to sebum or whatever. I don't know. It's a good choice. It's also very thin and very lightweight, so even for hair that gets weighed down really heavily, it's not really that dramatic. So just a few drops just to like seal the ends so the moisture doesn't get out, and then I'll let the rest of it air dry naturally, or maybe like hit it with a hair dryer again if I really feel like inspired. And then that's it. Right? So I know it sounds like very complicated. That's it. But the routine used to be a lot more dramatic. It was like this leave-in scalp treatment. It was this like 15 herb concoction for the rinse. It was, 700 ingredients for the shampooing process, which I wouldn't even use shampoo. But, one thing that I do use that is definitely a commercial product is this guy, because now that I'm blow drying my hair, you have to heat protect. So apparently this is the best option. I've done like way too much research on these kinds of things. And this is good for apparently every hair texture, but you gotta heat protect your hair if you're gonna be blow drying it. And I really don't want to blow dry my hair, but I have discovered that I love not having wet hair for 3 days, which is great. And as it turns out, in like 2 or 3 wash cycles, like the issue was gone. My hair started growing back. It looked dense. People started telling me, "Oh, your hair looks really good today. Like, what'd you do?" Literally less, literally way less. And it's just better. So, this is the new update. And again, I know that for me, it seems really silly to talk about things like beauty products, but I think it's something that actually does matter. And it's not, again, it's not about vanity. It's about health, right? And it's also about mental health, and it's about social well-being and health and feeling confident and feeling good. And it's not about turning into something you're not. It's about being the best version of you that you can be. And I know it sounds really trite and hackneyed, but I'm not trying to change my hair. I'm just trying to not have me be rashy and my hair fall out. I just want my hair to grow back. You know what I mean? And I don't want to do it with like 1,000 chemicals and 1,000 treatments that didn't even work anyway. But what I was doing seemed like it was working, because the first couple days my scalp would be much nicer, wouldn't be all rashy. But then shortly after that, it would start to get all rashy again. And it turns out I was doing everything backwards. And so proof positive that we can always come back around to revisit what we think we already knew. And if you find that you're doing something that you've stuck with, right? Because a lot of times these changes with our body, they take a little time, But if you find that you've stuck with something and it's just really not doing the job, don't give up. It's not as good as it gets. You can do better, right? They may be just missing a piece of information. In my case, I was under the complete misguided impression, thanks to the internet, that I had a dry scalp, and that's probably not actually a thing. When I started treating for dandruff, I immediately resolved my hair issues, and I am in better health, wellness, and confidence than ever. And I'm really grateful for finding out that I was wrong. So if you find that like, oh, this is probably just as good as it gets, then maybe that's not true. Maybe there's another solution out there for you. I hope that this video inspires you in some form to double back around and recheck what you think you know, because there's always something more to know. There's always something we can find out that we never knew, and we really don't even know what we don't know. And it may be true that some of our deepest underlying assumptions are incorrect, and I'm going through a whole process with my health in the same thing. And I'm constantly reinventing my skincare routine because, like I said, I have very crappy skin as well. But I've been getting so many compliments on how radiant it looks, and cool, because it's naturally crappy. It's not that I was just somehow like blessed with genetics of perfect skin. That is not the case. I've had to work for it. But I found a way to simplify a routine that works for me and adjust what I feel the underlying assumptions are. The same thing with healthcare. Ever since COVID, we're really vulnerable. I've been going through a series of health problems that look like autoimmune diseases and issues, but I started to realize that I don't think I have a variety of disorders. I think I have one central problem that is not what the institution thinks it is. So I have been working on healing myself, and what good is a healer if you cannot heal yourself, right? And I have had, again, tremendous success. And it is because I redefined what I thought about the underlying assumptions. Like, I believe it is probably true. There are autoimmune issues where the immune system is attacking itself and the body. But I really feel like in a lot of cases, especially since COVID, because I have seen an outrageous abundance of these cases, that the immune system is doing its job properly. It's attacking something we just can't identify. And so, just adjusting this idea, this underlying foundational assumption, has completely adjusted my approach and tremendously impacted my results with my experimenting, and with my clients as well. Has seen tremendous improvements in their health and well-being with an adjustment of the assumption. So whatever it is we think we know, whatever it is we think we believe, may be wrong. And I hope so, because when there's no more space to learn, then what joy is there in life, right? And learning, and it seems frustrating when we feel like we can't get something right, but when we find the excitement and joy of discovery about something new that can really make a huge difference and make us feel amazing when we're feeling not so good, then isn't that a wonderful treat, a wonderful gift of life? I hope that someone out there finds this useful. Maybe that person is you. And if you find that there is someone in your life that may benefit from this, go ahead and feel free to share. Sharing is caring. If you like this type of content, go ahead and check out my channel, like, subscribe, all the stuff. If you hit like and subscribe, then it helps me know what you like. So if you did like this content, that's how I know to make content like this, because I already know what I know. I make videos to give away what I've learned. So if you find out that this is a topic you really like, I'd be happy to share more. If there's something you're interested in biooptimization or skincare, hair care, or treating incurable diseases, or really mindset and motivation is my wheelhouse, then I would love to share whatever it is that excites you and feels like it's helpful and useful for you. So this is the Crunchy Girl edition, as natural products as possible, while also understanding that, you know, we have to think about things like budget and availability of resources and ease and convenience, because a routine that's 500,000 steps is not sustainable. It's a pain in the ass, you know, and it should be joyful caring for ourselves, right? So hopefully this helps make your routine simpler. If you've tried any of these things, or if it's a revelation for you too, that maybe it's not dry scalp, maybe it's actually dandruff or dermatitis, that leave me a comment and let me know. What have you tried? What have you not tried? Do you like using essential oils? Do you use a different approach to this problem? What have your results been like? I would love to hear about it, because that's how we learn from each other, right? As community. I do have a WhatsApp community where we like to hang out in there and talk to, but leave me some comments. I respond to them all personally, and I'd love to hear what's worked and what hasn't worked for you and your thoughts on this idea. And let me know what you like. I'd be happy to share. Until next time, I'm Kat Rambo, your medicine woman, and I'll see you soon.